Hi, this is Zach, and I've decided to do a couple of quick videos just to show how I'm putting my Bixler 2 kit together, not only for a bit of gliding fun but also for FPV use. This is my first Bixler, being the Bixler 2 kit, which came completely disassembled, and also my first attempt at a first-person view platform, mounting cameras and so on. So just some ideas that I've taken from others, and also a few I've done myself. Trying to flat mount the Carnegie 30 amp ESC as far down as was safe to do so. There is actually a cavity inside here that would, unfortunately I can't show you because I've already glued this together, but there's a cavity in here that the wires actually run down. At the moment I have the power cables running down across the front where there is the cavity, as you can see. Sorry, there you go. Power cables running down the front, and I've just got them to some bullet connectors here at the moment, and I'll show you what that'll connect to in a minute. The actual signal wire, the receiver speed control signal, I've actually got through the cavity running back and down here to where I've actually got the receiver. I've decided to do that because I'm going to be mounting my FPV transmitter up the front. So with the transmitting end up here, I wanted to put my receiving gear down here, and I'll show you in a minute. I'm actually going to put my GPS receiver way down in the tail. Not on top like some people have, but actually inside. So what I've done inside, and it's going to be a bit tricky to show you, is obviously I've cut the hatch opening in order to be able to access all the internals without too much hassle, even with the wing permanently on. I've got the satellite spectrum receiver sitting in the bottom there with a bit of Velcro. I've decided to use a UBEC, so there's a 3 amp Carnegie UBEC or an SBEC sitting there, giving me 5 volt signal to the receiver, and driving all of the servos because I'm going to be doing flaps as well, and that's just as a backup in case the main speed controller overheats and resets or freezes up for any reason. Both of these are actually wired in to the same bullet connectors. It's really hard to show you now, but sorry, there you go. Both of them are wired up to the positive and negative bullet connectors, so they'll both be getting the battery voltage through, but no, the ESC will just be driving the motor. To do the hatch, you actually have to remove one of the servos, because normally your rudder and elevator servo sits on either side at the front here, and the rod runs right down along the body. So to do a hatch, you've actually got to remove one of the rods, unless you try to move the hatch upwards, which doesn't give you a lot of space and support up top. You could potentially leave the rod in there and the servo up front, but I'm actually happy to move it down the back because I think this model with a big battery up front is going to be difficult to balance out with all the FPV gear mounted up front as well. So what I'm pushing down the back is the GPS unit, and the way I'm going to do it is this is the top, so it has to be facing upwards. I've got the connecting cable, which was very flimsy, and I've actually ended up putting heat shrink over the very flimsy cable. I haven't shrunk it at all. I'm just leaving it as is because at the moment it means once it's connected to the GPS, it's very easy for me, and I'll just connect it now. I've used a gyro mounting pad there, which has a slippery surface underneath. It's now very easy for me to push it down inside the tail boom. and extract it later if I need to. It's quite slippery, but because of this heat shrink, it will actually stay in place when I've actually got it where I want it, and connected the other end to the actual on-screen display unit. What I'm doing with the power distribution, I showed you the bullet connectors before from both the SPEC and the speed controller. They're both going to be plugging in to the current sensor that came with my Storm OSD that I purchased from eBay. And I purchased this one because it's for $140. Gives me return to home and pilot assist and a bunch of other stuff that I'd like the option of using for my first platform. But as you can see, the bullet connectors here will feed power to both the speed controller and the SPEC. At the moment I only had the one battery male terminal, but I'm actually going to parallel load onto this board a second male plug as well. So I have the option of connecting up two parallel batteries. If one gets a bit worn and puffy and dies out, I've still at least got a second one connected. And it'll also give me 4400 milliamps capacity from using two of my 2200s. And that will be installed. I'm not sure you'll be able to see it very well, but the heat shrink that came with the Storm OSD package, I've actually glued to the side of my inside of the canopy there, cabin, sorry, and that unit there just slides straight in nice and snug. And if it starts to get loose, I can always just put a little bit of heat on that and it'll shrink it up a little bit. So with the OSD kit, I've determined two places that are quite flat during the build. One is actually on the underside of the canopy itself. That flat surface there actually is parallel to the ground when it's sitting in the glider. That was an option that I could have tried to mount it. You can mount OSDs upside down if you do your homework and make sure you get all your servo reversals correct. Excuse me. But I didn't like that idea, because then I'd have to have a whole bunch of wires moving every time I took the canopy off to put batteries in or out. So the other flat surface I found was actually just there, the back part of the main cabin. That's actually quite flat when it's sitting level. So that's the area that I'm going to be putting it in. And with the forward facing that it needs, with the little airplane symbol there, all I've done is put some gyro mounting foam insulation underneath, left some gaps to let it breathe, and a bit of Velcro, and I'm just going to Velcro it to the bottom. Apparently these things are quite robust. I guess we'll find out. So things that I've got left to do, mount the Fatshark camera and transmitter onto the actual cockpit unit, and I've got a spare one coming in the mail, so in case I screw it up or actually just want to go for a glide without my FPV, I'll have a spare cockpit. I haven't yet, as you can see, I haven't yet put the hinges on for the hatch, done anything with the wing, connected up all the servos. I've just received some Metal Gear servos, so they'll be going in. I've already fed a cable through, an extension cable through for my servo for the elevator, which I'm going to be mounting in the elevator itself down the back. I'm also going to be putting carbon fibre into the tailplane, as quite a few people have recommended. The only other thing I've done, well, a couple of things, is I've drilled a little hole back here and cut it a little bit open, same as the AXN that I've got, that just allows air to flow through and hopefully vent a little bit to take some of the heat away from the electronics inside. Second thing I've done is, instead of using the rounded carbon fibre rod that the Bixler kit comes with, which was very flexible when I picked it up, I've used a squared tube, which was the same diameter and just manages to squeeze in there. It does stick out a little bit, as you can maybe see there, but so does the round one, so I'm not too concerned. So there is where I'm at, and once I've got more built, I'll do a second video. Thanks for watching.